朋友们，美国国防部长赫格塞斯下达了一道极不寻常的指令，要求美军800名将军和海军将领在短时间内前往弗吉尼亚州的一个海军陆战队基地集合，而且没有给出任何的理由。当地时间9月25号，美国国防部呢在一份声明中确认了召集将领们开会的事实，称会议将在下周二召开，但是没有披露原因。这项命令呢来得如此的神秘和突然，以至于就连美军最高层的将军们也感到困惑和警觉。4名美国的官员透露，该指令及其未公开的理由在军中高层激起了焦虑和担忧。另有一个美国的官员透露，许多的高级军官正在互相的联系，试图搞清楚赫格塞斯为什么要下令举行这样一次史无前例的集会，每个人都在琢磨目的。根据多位知情人士透露呢，这项指令几乎发给了全球所有美军的高级指挥官。这次大集结呢，可能涉及多达800名将官，而根据2025年6月的数据，美军现役的将官总共也就838人。指令就意味着包括部署在欧洲、中东和亚太地区，乃至身处活跃冲突区域的最高指挥官都在受召之列。如此大规模的把全美的军事领导层聚集于一地，在美国国内引发了严重的安全担忧。有人担心基地的安保工作将是一场噩梦，因为如此规模的军事领导层集结将成为恐怖分子和抗议者的目标。许多军方人士呢也提出一个疑问：为什么这样一场会议不能通过美国军方高度保密的视频会议系统进行呢？看起来老美坏事做多了，处处胆战心惊，生怕别人借机一锅端。这一次神秘的集会之所以在美国军方引发了巨大震荡，跟赫格塞斯上任以来在五角大楼的一系列舔望行动有关。他此前呢已经解雇了10几名军事领导人，而且还下令把4星上将的数量削减20%，并且把所有将官的总数削减10%。那么在这样的背景之下，各种猜测就涌现了。由于呢与会的将军都带着各自的高级士官，所以美国媒体推测会议可能有3个目的。第一，赫格塞斯可能是想亲自向指挥官们阐述他以国土防御为核心的新国防战略。第二，他可能要宣布重大的机构调整，比如合并欧洲和非洲的司令部。第三呢，这或许是一次鼓舞士气的大会，赫格塞斯要向所有人传达一个明确的信息：要么服从，要么走人。以上3个推测的前提是美军正在收缩，那么正因为要收缩，所以必须进行相关的调整，可能有人会当场免职，这种方式就避免了通过视频会议来宣布海外高级军官免职的弊端。毕竟呢，将在外，一时半会儿控制权还在他们的手里，保不齐最后的关头他们会趁机做点什么。不过呢，我个人认为或许还有第4种可能，比如美国的情报部门发现大陆攻台日即将到来，虽然呢理性推断应该不可能，因为跟中国开干不符合美国利益，美军也打不赢，但是不乏川普这个疯子会冒险的赌一把。那么基于这么一个前提来看，这次安排其实呢也是合情合理说得通的。毕竟如果真的要玩一把大的，那美军全球指挥体系必然要重新的安排部署一番，而且要面对面的亲自进行。那究竟最后会是什么样的原因呢？下周2我们到时候见分晓。
Appreciate everyone continuing to join us as we continue to bring you some of the day's biggest top stories and headlines. I want to show you what the Washington Post had the scoop on this exclusive, saying Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered virtually all of the U.S. military's top commanders worldwide to gather on short notice and without a stated reason at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week. So we want to continue to break that one down for you right here on Live Now from Fox. I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down. This is Hal Kempfer, a national security analyst, a friend here of the program. Hal, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now. And I guess really the first question to you, Hal, is just who is all included here in this meeting? What are you learning here?
Well, Mike, it's interesting. There was a slight variance. First, it came out and said all general and flag officers worldwide. That is a lot. There's over 800 general and flag officers around the world, and we got everything from 4 stars, in charge of major combatant commands worldwide, down to we got 1-star brigadier generals that are permeated through staffs and everything else, and so it wasn't quite clear what it was. As of right now, there's 2 things. I saw one report that said everyone above the rank of 07, which is 1 star, which would be a rear admiral lower half, or it'd be a brigadier general. And then I heard that the brigadier generals and rear admirals lower halves might be included within that, but there seemed to be an exclusion for staff officers. So what it looks like is it's going to be all the general and flag officers in command positions. Now, I have a feeling we're going to see some more maybe expansive guidance on this, because, for example, if you have a carrier task force overseas, you would have a 1-star admiral would be in charge of that. I'm kind of skeptical that they'd want to redeploy all these admirals that are in 4 deployed positions in charge of in sensitive parts of the world doing that. So, but it's going to be huge. 800 generals and flag officers ascending on Marine Corps base Quantico. That's a base I've been stationed at. Let's just say my history with that base goes back a very, very long way, and that's also where FBI Academy is, and that's also where famous NCIS that has all the TV shows. That's where their headquarters is as well, and it's a big base. But with that many flag officers, and they said they're going to bring the normal assembly of people they have. Well, every general flag officer has at least 1 or more aides. They'll have, in many cases, personal security details, depending on who they are. They'll have a senior enlisted advisor coming in. So when you're talking about that, you can start multiplying that in terms of the people around them by 4, 5, 6, whatever number of people. And then the question is, well, where do they all stay? You can say, well, they could all stay on base. There's not enough distinguished visitor quarters in Quantico or Northern Virginia to basically help, to deal with this. So you're going to see a lot of them staying at hotels in the area, and then they're going to have to work out all the security arrangements. And of course, for anybody out there who's a terrorist and wants to do a big strike, they're going to be looking at this as well, which the FBI is fully aware of, and as is everybody else, and any other threats that could come. So you can imagine, this is, if you thought that what happened at Charlie Kirk's memorial service was a big security event, you can imagine what this is going to look like. Even though it's on a Marine Corps base, in a very secure facility, everybody's got to get to and from the facility. And then the question is, what are they going to do when they get there?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Hal, so the position from the White House is saying, why is the media so interested in this and saying it's not that big of a deal? I want to show everyone the response from inside the Oval Office when President Trump was questioned on this, as well as the vice president. Let's show that, and then we'll get your reaction right here on Live Now.
Secretary Hegseth is inviting military leaders from all around the country on Tuesday. Will you also be there?
From all around the country to what?
To Virginia.
He's inviting the generals and admirals to Virginia for a big meeting.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let them be friendly. Let them be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why? Is there something? No, but is there something wrong with it?
And what is it about? Will you be there personally as well? And what is it about?
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
All right, Hal Kempfer, what is your reaction to that? The White House saying, why are you so interested in this? It's good that we're doing peace and want everyone to get along.
Well, if I wanted to kind of parse the words, we haven't had a meeting like this with the Secretary of War since around a little after World War II, because we changed it to Secretary of Defense. So technically, semantically, yes, it is unusual. What's unusual is that you would take that many general and flag officers away from their duty stations around the world, away from what they're doing, to fly to Quantico for some meeting. Usually in something, it's not unusual. For example, every year, all the combatant commanders, the 4-star combatant commands, the big regional commands and things like U.S. Transportation Command, Cyber Command, stuff like that. All those generals will meet annually, and that's not unusual. But while they're gone, there's a deputy commander that's taking charge of things while they're gone. And having served in combatant commands, having served at what the Army would call corps level commands, or for the Marine Corps MEF level commands, 3-star commands, along with 2-star commands and a plethora of 1-star commands, that usually when the big boss is gone, you make sure that not everybody's there, that you have a certain, if the boss is gone, that the 4-star is gone, the 3-star is there, or at least a 2-star is there that can, quote, answer the mail, if you will, while they're gone and make decisions and do those things that have to be done. But if you start pulling all those folks out, that would be difficult. That's why I think there may be a provision there for staff. And what I'm thinking they're doing is, for example, if you were the operations officer for, say, United States Central Command, all right, you would, and you're a general, you would stay there as the operations officer. Maybe the chief of staff, who would also be a general officer, would stay there. So there would be some continuity in the command. If, for example, while they're all gone in Quantico, if something were to happen within their area of responsibility or something were to happen globally, there would be people there of sufficient rank status to basically move forward and keep things going. I mean, every command is going to find a way to keep things going, but you definitely want a few general and flag officers around. So I think they're going to try and do that. But this is big. I honestly, I can't recall, and maybe somebody out there, a historian, will correct me, I can't recall anything quite like this. And I certainly can't recall anything quite like this that happened in such short order, saying, hey, you're going to be back here next week. And I don't know what it is. It seems less likely that they're bringing him back for a meet and greet, let's all be friendly and get to know each other sort of thing. Although, it is on record, Secretary Hegseth has talked about reducing 4-star generals by 20%, okay? And he's talked about reduction in general flag officer ranks across the board of significant numbers. That could be part of what they're going to talk about. But I have a feeling there's probably something a little bit more urgent that they want to talk about. Although I will tell you that within the military, because of that thing about reducing general officers and flag general officers, there's a kind of a running narrative. They said it's going to be Squid Games for generals. All right, well, that's kind of amusing to say that, but it's not going to be Squid Games for generals, but it could be something where he wants to personally evaluate every general and admiral out there to figure out, who he wants to keep. I mean, this may be, if he's making massive reductions, he may want to develop a personal rapport with all these generals and admirals to figure out who he actually wants to hold on to. I wouldn't rule that out.
That's so interesting. And Hal, if you had to, I guess, where would you lean that this could be possibly talking about? Is it Russia? Is it more the Gaza situation? Do you think it's causing alarm here within the ranks?
If you're bringing them from all around the world, then it's got to be something with global import. And I think it may be that we're going to, it may be that there's discussion about the global threat situation, and probably, and this would I'm just guessing, that there might be some very, very sensitive intelligence that's being shared with all of them, that they're going to break them into working groups to work on specific problems with various what-if scenarios, which may be less about if and more about when. And so there could be a variety of different things. And I would be surprised. I'm sure Russia will be part of the discussion. We couldn't move people around the world as fast as in World War II as we can today. But, there were some real disconnects at the beginning of World War II with general officers. And if you go back there, with what Douglas MacArthur was doing in the Philippines, I think almost every historian will tell you there was a real disconnect with what General MacArthur was doing and what the president wanted. And so it may be just to get everybody on the same sheet of music.